Hello YouTube, Ronin Kaze. Listen to that, that's just horrible, but that is what it is. Okay, today what I'm bringing you is the Division 2. And what I'm doing is, well, that's my TV going on super bright. What I'm doing is I'm making a build. This is an alt character. On the Division 2, they give you 4 characters. This is my newest character. One of the things about your account on the Division 2, so if your expertise is up to 30, then your expertise is up to 30. But not every piece of gear gets to level 30. You have to use resources to bump them up. So I'm going to show you how to do that on a weapon, and I'm going to show you what pieces I'm going, just the pieces I'm carrying, and I'm making a new build that I'm going to use right now. So one of the things is in the Division, you can have a number of builds. You open them. I think, I thought that was my cat. You open them up. I think you hit something like 16 of them. And they're really good. You normally can't switch when you're in combat, but you could have a build for almost every situation. So in general, I have a Vial Jammer build, which you've seen on this channel a million times. I have a high DPS electronics build. Now I have a healing build with refractor, and then I have some type of tank build. And lately I've been dabbling in that hazardous protection build. It's kind of nice. So what you're seeing now is me just going over the build, going over the items. I'm adding them in there. You can slow it down or pause it to see exactly what I'm doing. But basically the build is this. I want, when you have a high amount of armor, it doesn't make any sense to have regen mods because, or armor rolled for regen, because it's only 4,000, like 4,300 or something. What you need then are like pieces that give you percentage, right? So 1%. So on this build, I have 3% of my armor is, I think it's like 89,000 a second or something I'm recharging. And what you're going to see is I don't need to heal. I never use. So I have a drone, healing drone, and I have a revive hive, and I never use either one of them. So one of the things I rolled on my gun, I showed you how to roll a talent on a weapon. I got a weapon, it's MK46. Normally I have the ones that you get 3% increase in speed and damage for every 10 pieces of ammo you don't have in there. I think it's called Ravager or something. I don't know, YouTube. And I'll use that later and you'll see how powerful it is. But what I do is I get 47% if I don't ever use a skill. So as long as I don't use a skill on my MK46, it's going to get 46% more or 47% more damage. And then I have a rifle that I think I like, but maybe it's not the rifle I like, but I have an exotic rifle. I eventually change over to Scorpio because I have facing rogues, and when you're facing rogues, probably the best thing. This build, you'll see, I just mow through the rogues. Now, what don't you get in this kind of build? Well, in this build, you don't kill fast. But this is when you don't want to take any time wasting that you die. You go back to the safe house, and then you got to jog back or do whatever. A lot of times when I'm in, recently I did I was in the video yesterday, YouTube. I just did the final stage of Tidal Basin, and I never died. And I was a big reason we stayed up. I wasn't a big reason we finished it. I was a big reason that we just stayed up because I just wouldn't die, because that's the kind of build. So a lot of times the availability is kind of the most important thing. And all games are like this. So again, you might have heard on in the real world, you are exploiting market inefficiencies. So the designers have the game built a certain way. They want you to play it a certain way. And so then you're just breaking that. So when I go out there and I'm fighting, when you have a build like this, you'll see that it has a high amount of protection against elite, 70% in this build. Because I have one of the pieces, I have 2 pieces of Gila gear, so I get the extra 2%. And usually these exotic builds are made with the exotic back piece, ninja backpack, because it's a wild card. And really, you can do anything with that. I would maybe test. There's something I'm interested in, but I'm not going to worry about it today, but it's something I'd like to test. So I also want you to like, subscribe, share, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee or a Monster, please feel free. I appreciate it in advance. I think one person did once already, so thanks to that person. And if we start doing this, I will open it up and I will acknowledge people, and I'll put you at the back of the video to thank you and acknowledge you. Builds, I've said this several times in different videos, this kind of reflects in your life. I have different setups for different situations. It's that time of year, YouTube, where you're going to go see your parents and maybe have Thanksgiving, or maybe it's you're going to be with your family, or maybe you're going to be with your kids. And so you don't have to do exactly what I'm telling you to do, but if you could have some grace for everyone, things will go a lot better. I know in this time, and it's every time, but it just seems like it's easy to pick fights and say you're wrong and I knew you were wrong and ha. What does it get you? And in your family, in the long term, what does it get you? And I'll say this, my wife often asks me, were people always like this? Why are they like this? Why are they doing it? And I think maybe during COVID, people, oh, is that a game doing it somewhere? I don't know where that's on. Oh, that is in the game. I think during COVID, when people are anonymous and they could comment on anything without any repercussions to it in front of them, they got emboldened to just do that all the time. And so you'll say things that you never would say in a company. You'd say it when you get in the car and go, man, I hate going over my parents because my dad makes me feel like this, or my mom makes me feel like this, or everyone always says I look like this. And so the only thing I'm going to tell you is, like, man, it'd be okay if you went back to that. Not everyone needs to hear all your thoughts. I don't share everything that goes through my head with you, YouTube. I share a lot of what I think about. When I look back at the channel, I probably cussed too much previously and was too flippant with that. And so YouTube never told me what was going on, but I have to assume that some of it was my language. So am I less than because I don't cuss as much? No. So here I am, I'm going out and I'm attacking. This is the checkpoint I use almost all the time when I'm kind of demoing stuff, because I have a benchmark for how long it's going to take me, and then how it feels and how things come along. And is it harder? Did a group come that was, a resource group, enemy resource group? Did we get ads? And it's predictable. So whenever you're doing testing, you want to have something that's comparable so you can kind of get a real feel for what's going on. What you'll see in this build is I go reload constantly. I'm not afraid of dying. And I'm on heroic, right? So I kept it big so you can see I'm heroic, so you can fact check me. Part of me said, why would you want to see this whole video? Because I think a lot of times I see videos where people will exaggerate the claims of the build and they might have certain things turned on. There might be directives turned on. There might be synergy with the directive with the build, and that's not it. Yes, they are factually true, but when you're playing every game, you don't have the directives on, then you're in vanilla division 2. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to do heroics or legendaries. And you can see me do the legendary yesterday. That build, since I started doing Tidal Basin, that build is a mainstay. If things really go to heck YouTube, then I switch to that build. But here I am. This is just a build I made literally at 4 p.m. I was like, hey, I want to do this. I got in this character. I was trying to quick Linux update. Everything's running good. This is being run from my Legion Go. I have it at 15 watts, not 30 watts. And I'm trying again to load the Division 2 on my Mac, so I can run it on their YouTube, but I wanted to get some content out. And a lot of times I go over builds, I've already done it. So if you don't know how to use expertise on your gear, you get resources each time. There's going to come a certain point when your library is pretty full. So the Division 2, how it handles resources, like you get all that stuff, you get all that loot. Then with that loot, you can burn it down, you know, deconstruct it into resources. But before you really do that, when you're first starting, you want to take all those pieces and put them into your library, so you kind of get that. And that's the library of all the add-ons, what you can do with your armor. Really, you only need, you know, I think you only need a few, because you're not going to do it with everyone, but you might as well do it. So once you get your library taken care of, then you're burning up the resources, and you have to use them. And the easiest way to get everyone should be at a minimum level 12 expertise. Number 2, everyone should have every piece of armor at a minimum to level 12. You don't need any special exotic gear. You know, you can get to level 12 with nothing. So that gives you 12% more armor. I want you to think about when you first get in the game, why do I give a hoot about what level someone's watch level is? Because at level 800 watch level, you got 10% more armor. You have 10% more damage. When you're below that, you're just gimped. Additionally, as you get expertise, you get more stuff. So I have some of my piece of armor on my main sets are like 22% more armor. And on my skills, they're all at 30, the ones that matter. My vial jam, my turrets, and those kind of things. And if you have alts, and you should, because you can get more exotic pieces every week. Talk to me later about that, YouTube. But for your alts, when they use those electronics, when you're leveling them up, they're at level 12 or level 30, whatever your level is, your expertise. So the reason I have the whole video, I didn't manipulate it a whole lot, was because I want you to see that I just never go down. And there's some builds that just are never going to go down. Everything's a trade-off, but when you're soloing, you know, and I want you to think about this, when you put some of those, when you pick certain backpacks and certain chest pieces for the benefits they give you, or the same thing with the rifles, when you're solo, your solo gear, I would say, you know, that backpack, with every kill you get some stuff. That's great when you're soloing. So that might be one where I would maybe do something different, because I'm going to get all those benefits. In a group, you might not kill everything. If they let you get all the kills where you can build up your build, and then you're the best, then it might work. But in groups, people aren't really there to make you shine. They either want to get the content done, or they want to shine. So I'm going through this, and what's going to happen is I'm going to go through here. Oh, you might notice something different in the beginning. I usually am not one of these people that cleans up devices and all that stuff. And from 2 years ago to now, I changed my iPad. I got a newer iPad with more space. So I'm not as likely to run out of space and have to worry about deleting or not deleting or doing all that stuff. Well, you do. Deleted some of the things that I need to do that stuff. So I had to remake a beginning. So that beginning was from this video. And so that's why it's a little bit different. So you may recognize it when I killed the first boss for taking it over. But what's going to happen as soon as I kill the last boss that came in, these are just other things you should always do. Everyone has weak points. Whenever these people are coming in and they got that drug bag, you always shoot in that drug bag. You're not shooting them in their head that has an armor helmet. Shoot them in their drug bag. They get dazed, and then you kill them. And grenadier people too. You make their grenades go. Sometimes you'll see a guy, a heavy gunner, you make their ammo blow up their ammo so ammo's firing off. But I'm going to eventually run into the rogues. And with this build, the rogues are nothing. They're nothing. And when you have a Scorpio shotgun, it's going to be nothing. So trying to do all this stuff on Linux, CatchOS, and so you can see that you can run these games. I got Dune Awakening running. I got both Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, and the other one, whatever it's called. And I'm thinking about getting a new game and showing you how it works there on this stuff, because I'm just trying to show you. I'm going to run into the point where, you know, I'm not going to have enough computer to do it. Is that the rogues yet? Oh, yeah, I ran into rogues, so I'm changing my weapons. That's what you're seeing. And so when you see this MK46 go after a reload, it's super powerful. So that's why I did that. So YouTube, I appreciate it. Yep, I'm trying to get newer games so you can see how it works. The problem I'm having when I have Dune on my handheld, it wants to default to the joysticks, and I'm not a joystick player, so I either got to do the joysticks for you or not. But anything for you, YouTube. This is Ronin Kaze. Couple changes. Things are settling down. Things are just working. I'm loading games on here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if I don't talk to you for Thanksgiving, I am going to. But I hope you have a good holiday. This is Ronin Kaze out.